as deserving as it should be. Who is it gonna be starting things off here? I think it's gonna be Diego.
Not sure who won the die roll, but yeah, Diego's going first.
And he does with the unicorn. Again, no entropy, so he will be able to do whatever he feels like is the optimal going first field in this mirror match. We have seen a lot of different combos for these guys, sometimes going, actually oftentimes going for the Dragosak play. And we see a terraforming. You can see and feel the tension because although they're friends and although they are very close with each other, they both can put on the serious poker face going into this game. And this is exactly what's happening here. You can tell that they really want this.
They must have played against each other multiple times in testing as well, preparing for this tournament. And
but the chances that you end up playing against each other is already super slim in those 17 rounds that we played. The fact that it happens in the final is just completely mental. And for now, it seems like Diego is cut off his Snake Eye engine. Let's see if he has any way to access it. And this could just be once again, as mentioned, the Dragosak. He has been going for such a similar line every time we have seen them on stream.
yeah, this is the line that they have preferred so far, and that's what they usually go for. And here Diego sets one and pass. That's about it.
Definitely not the happiest with this opening. No Snake Eye cards. This could be as well a Kashtira pure deck. And now Lorenzo responds with his own copy of Kashtira Unicorn. Again, as you can see, both thinking about what to do. And I think something that could come up is that as they are completely aware of each other's deck list and it's also the exact same, the spooky dogwoods in the side decks are a concern for both. So I don't think either of them is particularly interested in, playing it out. And they're gonna try to play as fast as possible. But for now, same exact opening from both players. Crazy enough.
Yeah, let's see if Lorenzo holds any Snake Eye cards in his hand.
And it's looking better as an opener, even though he is going second, though. At least he has access to the double star. And will get to set. The original. Are we gonna see anything from Diego? Ferrier and Mascherena are there. Yeah, debating a bit about it, probably thinking whether to use the Ferrier or to just save it for later. And he does go and activate the Ferrier on the Unicorn. And that is going to resolve. So one less interruption from Diego gone. Down to this Mascherena. And here comes the birth. From which, obviously, Diego can respond with his own birth effect, getting rid of the Fenrir. He responds with the Mascherena.
Interesting. Okay. I think he'll go for the IP. Exactly.
Yeah, because you can only target 3, so you cannot target up to 3.
Yeah.
That's the main concern from the birth, which he couldn't use for. Oof.
And yeah, Yash as well.
The end, as we mentioned, was much better. And here comes the Nekayash. And with the original face down, is there any response from Diego?
Makes sense to activate the Little Knight there on the Ash, who's now bringing the Poplar.
But yeah, the great news though is the absence of entraps. And give or take, the face down could only be, obviously, you know, the skill drains, we have talked about them, but like a forbidden droplet. Outside of that, it's going to be tough. Lorenzo has to keep in mind the birth, because that's the only card that can banish free from the graveyard at some point in the game. But outside of that, I think Lorenzo is in the driving seat at the moment.
Maybe the last remaining card may be a droplet. Because you can tell that Diego is having a thing. No. That's
and
just
no,
it.
I think Diego might begin actually from his lips, and he does begin.
Yeah.
And does so with a terraforming. So Diego doesn't feel like going second is the right choice. He still is the one starting. And let's see if Lorenzo expected it.
And most likely we will see something that we have already witnessed in game 1 with the Dracosac lineup.
Hopefully for Diego though, he has some Snake Eye cards. And I think probably has to be either. Oof,
No,
but again, another
again.
bad end from Diego. Unfortunately, only one face down, and there is a Lightning Storm, but is it a Dogwood right away?
Yeah.
Yes. So there is a Dogwood activated preventively from Diego, just trying to stay in this game. Very interesting, but he's met by the Lightning Storm, clearing this skill drain. And now the question is, does Lorenzo care about this Dogwood, or is he just gonna push and, you know, just simply not care about the life points gain?
Interesting. Once again,
we start with the Snake Eye Ash. And And there is some considerations. We have seen Diego bring in Ash from the side deck, Ash Blossom. And he could be holding into that, but he allows this to resolve. And now the question is Lorenzo gonna go for it? He does. So he's gonna gain some life points, Diego. And then, oof, he's going to have the droplet.
With the Bellstar as well.
If it wasn't for the Dogwood, this would be game over on the spot, because Lorenzo would have enough to close the duel. But the only thing keeping Diego alive is this. And now we get to even take a look at the end with the talent. Wow. Lorenzo just has drawn the dream opener.
What a hand from Lorenzo.
Yeah, perfect hand. He's having a big think though. It seemed like at some point the Ash was obvious, but maybe he's not convinced. But yeah, it is the Ash. Would have been surprising if that wasn't the case. Are you surprised at all by this Dogwood being brought in?
Maybe they tested this out together for sure, and they maybe said that if there's a world in which they would have ever played against each other into this tournament, maybe just decided in, to survive if there was some sort of lineup, to seal the game in one turn. Maybe Diego was afraid that this game would have lasted more than 20 minutes because we saw that these are very back and forth game. And it could have been the case. And if there was ever a game 3, that game 3 could have started on time. So maybe something was going on in Diego's mind. But still, here it remains the fact that Diego didn't open up with a solid hand. And here Lorenzo now really just to stay focused and
absolutely, and do his best. But full knowledge is there. It reminds of me more of like a tier element strategy where some players were using the Dogwood just to gain so much life that they could then use it as resource. But I'm not that convinced, and I think Lorenzo isn't either. He's just going for it, and he's just gonna go and push as much as possible.
Because Lorenzo now has full knowledge of the Fender and the Birth in hand. He's basically free to do and continue.
Yeah, and as you can see, he does not care at all about this Dogwood, which is gonna have Diego's life point just skyrocket. And again, this is just a matter of deciding what kind of field to bring up. I'm sure Lorenzo will go through what cards possibly Diego could pick up. But I think something important to mention is that Diego decided to go first this game. This means that cards like Dark Looter or even Droplet are quite unlikely to be in the deck. And this gives him, top deck chances that are even slimmer. And you can see him, not looking too confident at the moment. For anyone wondering, they're just waiting at the moment on a judge call, which probably has to do with Dogwood and the attack for Temple. Something along those lines is what I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, it shouldn't be anything serious. So in the meantime, I think We can go back to us real quick while we wait for the decision. Absolutely, and play can resume as expected. And as we can see here, Diego life points are starting to hit the 20,000s, but although that's obviously a nice little interaction to witness, it's hardly ever gonna be relevant. Already tripled almost the original life points. Any duelist is given, but as you can see, the advantage from Lorenzo is through the roof, and he's possibly even one turn away from becoming the back-to-back national champion in Italy. Crazy timeline we're living.
Whoa. Also,
yeah.
Also
change of art. If that was even needed, the change of art coming down in the finals. Wow. And yeah, the card was negated by Droplet, by the way, so he couldn't actually add for the Fenrir. And it's also halved. But now we are, I think, about to enter battle phase. Let's see.
Yeah, dealing some damage.
Seems like, yeah, he's thinking about entering battle phase, maybe? And yeah, just doing some damage at this point with everything cutting and starting to go through some of these insane amount of life points. But as you can see, it doesn't take that much. They are already down to almost the original amount. And now we are back to main phase 2. We gotta get rid of this Fenrir, it seems. And yeah, the amount of advantage that Lorenzo has is just incredible. And as expected, the Fenrir is now being used for a link summon. Of Ita. And he's just doing some calculation, trying to figure out if there is any way that he can lose this match. And finally commits to a Link 4, which is going to be the Appaloosa. And yeah, a lot of life points gaining from Diego. And I think play can resume. Diego might be down to his last card. Can he find anything useful? He doesn't seem too happy about it. Are we witnessing what I think we are about to witness? Let's take a look at this one last top deck from Diego. We know Fenrir and Birth. Only one card is unknown. Here we should see the princess. And yeah, this is just going to be so much. Very well played by Lorenzo, who is gonna bring and have so much follow-up for next turn. And it's sold down to the last card in hand, but I mean,
honestly, I can't think of
No, any
Any.
card. Like talent, it's a decent one. And this is the birth from which we are going to see the Mascherena being used to just go for a Phoenix, draw even a further card. What is the last card from Diego? Moments away again. Only one card in hand from Diego against a huge field in hand from his opponent. And it's going to be the Oak. His opponent, I mean, is just asking what's going to happen as now we get into the Anima. And this should be a matter of time after the Typhon hits the field. Only the Typhon is left. And as you can see, Diego knows what's up. He's probably gonna extend the handshake, although he's holding into 17,000 life points. And there he comes, Lorenzo Muselli.